Chef Jamie Lynch is one of the most influential people in the food and beverage industry today. I talk one-on-one with the chef and partner at the 5th Street Group and the Top Chef alumni for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Chef Jamie Lynch, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, you are the chef and partner here at the 5th Street Group.
Yep.
Which includes restaurants here in Charleston, Nashville, Charlotte, and coming up soon,
Denver and Miami.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
What's on your plate these days?
My plate is big. It's a big plate. I mean, so much, man. I mean, moving our, signature restaurant to new markets is a big risk, and it's a big challenge. And so, what's on my plate right now is like focusing on putting our best foot forward, making sure that, those restaurants are as beautiful and excellent as the ones we have here, and then making sure that our food is going to translate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the risk behind getting these signature restaurants to these new markets?
So one more time, say it again.
Yeah, what was the risk of getting your signature restaurants to these new markets?
Yeah, I think, that's an interesting question. It's a new market, so the unknown is the big risk. It's like we don't, I feel that, especially in Charleston now, we have a strong foothold. People are familiar with our brand and our group and what we're about and our hospitality.
Sure.
Going into a market halfway across the country is risky. People don't really know what we're about. They may have seen me on Top Chef or something like that and think they know, but they haven't experienced our hospitality and what our group is about. And so I think that the risk is the unknown, but I'm confident in what we're doing. I mean, it's not our first rodeo.
Yes, sir.
Our group is dynamic. I feel very fortunate to have the team of people that we work with. I mean, a lot of us, and our chefs are outstanding. So I feel confident that we're gonna crush it, but you just never know.
How does our hospitality meet these new markets?
Yeah. Well, I think that our hospitality will be refreshing in a lot of these markets. I mean, we in the group take our hospitality personally.
Yes.
It matters a lot to us. It's not just part of the job, right? It's not a box that we check on our checklist. We actually mean it and we feel it, and the personalities behind it, we're all involved in it. And I think that that's going to be refreshing for these new markets.
What are those new markets, or what are these new markets missing that we can bring?
I mean, I think that it's our brand of hospitality. The thing that's really dynamic about 5th Street Group is the personalities that make it up. We're not an ownership group of restaurateurs that, do their work via Zoom. We are in the restaurants.
Yes.
We are sharing our experiences and personality. And I think that you don't see that as frequently in some of these other markets. Not that people don't do it. I think they do, for sure, but not as much. And I think that that's going to be something that can set us apart.
Going back to obviously a place that I have come to love because you all sent me out there last in 2022 was Nashville.
Yeah.
How has your experience in hospitality caught on with the people there?
I think it's going great. The feedback that I get when I'm in Nashville is super positive. I'm really happy with the restaurant there.
Yeah.
The Church and Union is amazing. Ophelia's is just a cool kind of niche for us to be in right on the next block.
Yes, sir.
Which helps. And I think that the fact that we're bringing the concepts that we have to that corridor, people are super excited about. They have a place in that, on that strip of downtown that wasn't there before at the level that it was. And I think people are really excited about that.
How do you take that to the next level?
Good question. I think for me, taking it to the next level is including my team, right? I can help take it to the next level, but I can't take it to the next level. We have to take it to the next level. And I think and a lot of people that know 5th Street Group know that there is only we. The reason that's so important to us is that's how you create that dynamic feel. It's going to take me, Patrick, Alejandro, yourself, Adam, our chef teams. It's going to take all of our energy, right, to take it to the next level. And that's something that I think we've spent a lot of time and energy on the past few years, is cultivating that feeling of we, and empowering our team to have a voice in that, to share their ideas, even if they're ideas that we don't use. A fresh idea might spring from that, right? That might be the seed for the next great idea. And I think that's something that's very important to us to push it to the next level.
What seeds are you using now, Chef, to get to the next level for the next restaurants that you all want to create?
I mean, some of it could be an inspiration for something that we see. It could be a restaurant that we dine in overseas or out of state, that we're like, ooh, that's interesting, and it sparks some sort of fire for us, that it's something that we want to pursue. I have a lot of fires burning, and and there's a lot of cuisines that I'm interested in, and styles of restaurant and food that I'm interested in. But I think a lot of these seeds come from our dynamic group, and also, what do we feel we can do that's worthy? I think one thing that we want to be careful about, at least I do, is I don't want to do things for the sake of doing them. We want our concepts and our restaurants and our hospitality to be worthy of the market that we're in and represent well. I don't want to do Mexican cantina just for the sake of doing Mexican food. If we can't do it well, and we can't do it at a very high level, and it's worthy of being, then we probably shouldn't do it.
You see all of that, Chef.
Yeah.
But I'm looking back at all the restaurants we've all created so far.
Yeah.
Do you have the energy and time to sustain what's going to happen in Denver and Miami and the next places?
And
Austin.
Yeah. We have a long list. I do, and I'll tell you why. Because of the team. Right? Because I have support around me and working, with me, that are younger and fresher, have fresh legs. We're going to sub in the fresh legs in the 70th minute to take this thing to the end. And I think that's important, is that as a group, we don't, the ownership group, we don't, it's not all about us. I think the original ideas were, but those have evolved and shaped over time and have become owned by the rest of the group and the management and leadership team that we have. And they're really the ones with the energy that are going to keep pushing this. And it's why we've, profit sharing partners is so important. Equity partners with our chefs and general managers is so important to us, is that we want them to have the ownership of these places, to invest the energy. Luckily, I have a non-exhaustive tank of energy, but a lot of these, the young talent and leadership that's coming through are going to be the ones that are doing a lot of the pushing.
What has evolved about the Fifth Street Group from the time you all started to write now?
I mean, Quintin, we would have to write a 1,000-page novel on that. I think that we as the ownership group have evolved personally and professionally. I don't think that when we first set out, I was much of a leader. I think I was an excellent chef, and my cooking skills were dynamic and really high level. But my understanding of leadership and teaching and mentorship was kind of non-existent. So for me, I can say that that's something that has grown over time. And I think our ability to trust our team, we did not do that early on. We were very protective of our brand and our ideas and our intellectual property. We just wanted to keep it close to the chest. But now I think we have a team that we trust and that have shown us and proven them, that they're committed and that they take it seriously. And I think that that's something that we've definitely evolved at.
What are you teaching and what are you actually learning when it comes to food in generalities?
I'm learning a ton. Being open-minded has been one of the probably most influential changes in my game. Listening to the young chefs about their ideas and their approach to food, because I'm old school. I have an old school idea of how things should be, creating that open-mindedness, listening to like their approach, even things that I don't agree with, has helped me learn new techniques, think about dishes a different way, or how to apply some of the things that I know in a different way that I'm not used to. And so that's been really exciting for me, and having that team grow is important to me because it keeps me inspired, you know, it keeps that energy level up. If it were just me writing menus and, you know, doing my food every day, I don't think it would be as special as it is today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Food-wise, Chef, what's inspiring you?
Oh man, but it could be the crust on a perfectly cooked piece of pizza, to some really exotic thing. But honestly, that is true. It could be any of those things. But the things that inspire me is cultural stuff.
Yes.
I have not traveled the world quite as much as I would like. I hope to be doing that.
Sure.
So I'm very curious about other cultures and what people's food culture is and how, that's something I've always been kind of fascinated about and do a lot of reading about and research about. And so that's the stuff that grabs me, right? Is like different cultures' approach to food, the ingredients they use, how they treat them. That stuff inspires me, and then I'll take that, like what I kind of, the inspiration I get from that, and I'll roll that into my cooking. Yeah.
So what is your food culture, Chef?
Yeah. So mine it's a hodgepodge. So I'm classically French trained.
Yes.
So, my most of my ideas kind of go back to that traditional technique, to a more like modern French cooking. But because I'm so interested in other ingredients and cultures, you'll see that peppered in my cooking a lot. And so there's not really a pin that you can put in it, right? And say, oh, his cooking is, French. It's not, right. It's technically, it's a lot of French technique, but I use a lot of Asian ingredients. I use some West African ingredients. I use, some of these weird approaches that I'm learning about in my cooking. And so it's really this modern American style of cooking, which is take what's available to you, treat it with respect, and try to, make something that touches people.
This might be a redundant question. I know you have to run too. But what new approach to cooking actually matches your original cooking style?
Good one. I think in our group, the thing that most resembles or is the most familiar to my kind of cooking history would be, our restaurant La Belle Helene in Charlotte, which is a classic French brasserie, right? Which I love because it's the food that I grew up cooking and learning to cook in. And so to me, there's an element of familiarity, of comfort in that restaurant. And even not just the food, but like the way the restaurant runs, the way it looks, the way it sounds. When I walk in there, to me, it's very, it really tugs at my memories of being a young cook, learning to cook in that environment. So that's probably the most familiar to my culinary upbringing. But, I'm totally open to evolving. And so this kind of journey that we're on, this ever-changing, grabbing little bits of cultural food history and rolling that into my style is a comfortable place for me to be too. It gives me some freedom to play. Yeah.
What are you playing with now when it comes to food?
Yeah, good question. Gosh, man, I play with so much stuff. What have I been playing with lately? So I've been playing with some classic Mediterranean style dishes, but trying to present them in my kind of modern American way, in a way that isn't going to say, oh, that is, I think you heard us on a phone call talking about spadinis, right? Which is like classic kind of Italian, kind of street food preparation. But I'm like, how can I apply that idea to our fun way of approaching food? So like, that's a lot of what I do is I take a lot of these classic things that people are familiar with and then try to like pull them apart, examine them in a way, and then how can I put these parts back together in a new way? Right. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which food describes you?
God, that's a question for somebody else, but I would say, what food describes me? I don't know. I mean, I would say that, like, you know, some Southeast Asian Thai food would describe me, because I'm a little spicy.
Yes, sir.
You know, a little high energy. You know, bold flavors. You know, things like that. I think would be a good description.
Wow. What's on your plate next?
Next, right now, my focus is we are rolling out some new menu ideas for Tempest,
Okay.
which I'm really excited about. Working with the chefs here
Right.
on that. But my focus is going to be on Denver and Miami.
Sure.
It's like, make sure that we put our best foot forward, that we bring, you know, the best interpretation of our brand of hospitality to those markets, and really just, you know, put our anchor in there.
Yeah.
And that'll be that.
That'll be that.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Can't wait for it.
I know. Thanks.
Yes. Well, Chef Jamie Lynch with the Fifth Street Group, thank you for your time again. Welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.